What do homemade lava lamps, green fire, liquids that spontaneously change colors right in front of your eyes, and solutions that seem to behave just like they were straight out of a Harry Potter movie all have in common?
They all can be made with things you probably have in your kitchen right now.
And to be clear, while all of these experiments are safe when performed properly, please use standard safety precautions and have adult supervision in the room.
That's why we had our mom in the room the entire time.
Hey, I'm an adult too, you know.
Yeah, sure.
While performing the green fire experiment only requires 2 kitchen ingredients, it actually wasn't the easiest experiment. That award belongs to the homemade lava lamps.
So let's start with that.
The first thing you're going to need for this experiment is a clear plastic bottle for each participant. You're going to start by filling each bottle halfway with water, and tap water will do just fine. The second step is filling most of the remainder of the bottle up with vegetable oil. You're going to want to stop filling it up when you get about an inch or 2 from the top of the bottle. Let it settle for a minute or 2, and the vegetable oil, because it is less dense, will eventually float to the top. Following that, pick out your favorite color of food coloring from your options, as that is going to be the color of your lava lamp. Place about 10 drops of your food coloring into your bottle, and because the food coloring is more dense than the oil, it is going to sink to the bottom and mix with your water layer. The next step involves using your Alka-Seltzer tablets, and each participant really only needs about half a tablet. All you're going to do is drop it into your bottle and watch the magic happen. This is great because everything is going to happen within the first few seconds, and for the next several minutes you will have your own kitchen ingredient powered lava lamp, no electricity required. My daughter chose green for her lava lamp, and this is my son who chose red and did the exact same experiment. From start to finish, you can do this experiment in about 5 minutes.
And what's really cool is you can keep these bottles for a long time and they'll still do the experiment just like they did before.
We did this experiment about 10 days ago, and it's been in my daughter's room ever since. And as you can see, after a little bit of time, it starts up and works just fine. The next experiment we're going to do is the green fire. And while you only need 2 ingredients for this, the reason it's a bit more complicated than the first experiment that has 3 ingredients is not every house might have these 2 ingredients. The 2 ingredients you're going to need are boric acid and methanol. Boric acid is actually a quite common ingredient in roach killer. If you don't have a roach problem, then you probably don't have this, and all you have to do is to go to your local hardware store like Lowe's, and you will generally find it in the insecticide section. Methanol, of course, not alcohol, which you probably have, is not as common either. But it is a fairly common ingredient in some fuel additives such as the yellow bottle of heat, and you can find that at your auto parts section. So once you have your roach killer and your yellow bottle of heat, you are ready to make some green fire. For this, you're going to want to make sure you have a heat resistant surface. Here you can see we used 2 cookie sheets, 1 cookie sheet on top of another that had been inverted. Grab a plastic cup and take a tablespoon of your new yellow bottle of heat and place it into the cup. Additionally, if you don't have a plastic cup, you can line a small bowl with aluminum foil and do the exact same thing, and it'll work just fine. You're going to need fine boric acid powder, so for this we were going to have to crush our roach killer tablets. We use a standard mortar and pestle, but you can do this in a variety of ways. And here you can see it easily crushes up into a fine powder for use in the experiment. The last step before setting it all on fire is to take a teaspoon of your boric acid powder and drop it carefully into your plastic cup. You're going to want to take a decent amount of time to dissolve all of this. A good science topic you can do with your kids is the boric acid is the solute and the methanol is the solvent. Finally, pour a small amount onto your heat resistant surface. Again, make sure you're wearing safety goggles. And when everybody's ready, take a flame and light it on fire. Interestingly enough, setting something on fire and observing a green flame is one method chemists will use to determine if boric acid is present in a compound. And while we are fortunate to not have a roach problem, hopefully this flame will continue to keep them away for a very long time. The next experiment we're going to do is our spontaneously color changing liquid, and we're going to follow that with our magic potion. In this experiment, we're going to need a few more ingredients, which you will see listed here. Additionally, you're going to need 3 clear glasses or jars for the experiment. First step is to take a couple of your vitamin C tablets, and then you're going to crush them up in your mortar and pestle just like you did the roach tablets in the green fire demonstration. You can see here crushed vitamin C looks a lot like crushed boric acid, so you're going to want to be sure you don't get your ingredients mixed up. Pour your vitamin C into your glass jar number 1 and follow that with a 1/4 cup of warm water. You're going to want to stir your new solution, and using warm water will ensure your vitamin C dissolves a little bit quicker. Next, you will need to take a teaspoon of iodine. And be careful with this because of course it will stain. And then pour it along with another quarter cup of warm water into glass jar number 2. And in final cup number 3, you will mix another 1/4 cup of warm water along with 1 tablespoon of 3% hydrogen peroxide and a half a teaspoon of cornstarch. Mix these ingredients together thoroughly. And now it's time for some color changes. Take a teaspoon of your dissolved vitamin C solution from jar number 1 and place it into your iodine solution in jar number 2. You can let it sit, or you can do a gentle swirl and watch your opaque solution become crystal clear. Here is another angle and doing the experiment in slow motion so you can see exactly what happens when you swirl the solution. And keep in mind, this is just color change number 1. For the second part of the demonstration, you're going to take the clear liquid that you just made and pour it into your glass jar number 3. And then stir the solution for exactly 30 seconds. Next, set a timer for 3 minutes, then wait. And during that time, don't take your eyes off the jar. I know 3 minutes sounds pretty arbitrary, but if you did your measurements correctly, at exactly the 3-minute mark, the solution will begin to change color back into the original opaque appearance. This is the reaction from another angle. Our final demonstration is going to be how to make what appears to be a magic potion. You'll see the ingredients here. You're also going to want to do this experiment on a surface you don't really care about or on top of a bunch of paper towels because the turmeric can stain. For this you will need 3 plastic cups, and the first step is to take a 1/4 cup of rubbing alcohol and place it into one of the cups. If you have another set of hands, and this time someone else can be taking a teaspoon of turmeric powder and placing it into the cup with the alcohol in it and stirring it very well. The next step is using a paper towel and a rubber band. You're going to want to cover your empty cup and then place the rubber band around the paper towel, creating a little bit of a lid, and at the center of the paper towel push it down to create a little bit of a divot because you're going to take your turmeric solution from your first cup and pour it on top of the paper towel to essentially filter it into cup number 2. Next, in another cup, mix 1½ teaspoons of baking soda with 1 cup of warm water and stir thoroughly. Now for the remainder of the experiment, it's best to have a paper plate or at least something disposable that has a lip around the edge of it. Take your baking soda solution and pour it onto your plate. Just enough to cover the entire bottom of the plate will do just fine. Now take your cup with your filtered and dissolved turmeric solution and place a few drops onto the plate below. The turmeric powder in this experiment acts like a pH indicator and turns a bright red when it comes in contact with the baking powder. Also, numerous tiny bubbles are formed which make the solution appear to come to life as if it were a potion being created by your favorite wizard or magician in the movies.
If you like this video, be sure to check out our original kitchen science video from almost 3 years ago. It's hard to believe we've been making videos for almost 3 years, isn't it?
Yeah, we should be catching Mr. Beast pretty soon, right?
Yeah, sure. Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.